love this recipe. I've literally crave it, and the base is what I'm going to share with you today so you can do the different variations. I've always been drawn to super simple foods that I can eat a lot of without trying too hard. And I've been making this recipe almost every week for the past few months, ever since I showed up here in Vermont. You'll notice something straight away that's different about this video. I'm going to use dried beans. I've been just cooking them on the stovetop or on the wood stove. And the first thing I'm gonna do is soak them. I boil the water to add to them so the soak time is a little faster, like this. And you can also use cold water if you have extra time. Sometimes I'll do it the night before, but I don't often remember to do it the night before. I usually just give them a once over just to see if there's any rocks. Sometimes I lay them out on a sheet pan. It's easier to see them that way, but I'll just do that to cover these, probably a couple inches worth of water, and then I have enough hot water for some tea. I'm gonna let this sit until it cools completely, and then it'll plump up the beans. Give me a head start. I do find that pinto beans are one of the easier and faster ones to cook on the stovetop. These have been soaking about an hour. See, the water's a little dirty, which we're just gonna strain that off. Once we get that soaking out of the way, it's an important step, but now we'll get into it. First, I want to get my mise en place all set up. I wrote it all down so it's exact because I've been making it so much. Today I'm going to be using this MyBacon. If you don't want to use this, you don't have to use any kind of bacon or pork vegan product if you don't want. But if you do, then you could also use, I've done it with Light Life tempeh. I've done it with tofu. Smoked tofu would work better. And I wouldn't use this, but this is all I have in the fridge. I would use the one in the vacuum pack, the one that's really extra, extra firm so it doesn't break apart and it's a little bit better texture. And if you're gonna use this or this, I would cook them off ahead of time just for the texture part. But this works the best. And I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. I'm just sharing, this is what I like to use and this is what works. So I'm just using half of a pack. Flavor is all in some of the fat. I'm just gonna empty some of this as much as I can so I'm not wasting anything right into it. Now they use coconut oil, which is great. If you've tried it, let me know what you think. If you haven't, give it a shot. I found it, if you go to their website, MyBacon, it's called myforest.com. My Forest is the name of the company. MyBacon is the name of this product. They also have a pulled pork kind of style item. But I've been to the factory and it's super nice and it's cool and it's mushroom based. So this I'm just looking for small dice, just like I would do with regular bacon. I'm just gonna slice it up like this. Quick chop. All right, next up, we're gonna use 1 onion. Dice this. Trying to do everything pretty much the same size as the bean. Next up, I have about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. When I say clove of garlic, I mean like good sized garlic. So whatever would be equivalent to like a good size. So if I have too many small ones, I'll just make it up to be 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. If you're good, you can just do a couple at a time. If you have a garlic masher, grater, whatever you want to call those things, you know, those will work well. I'm just always less gadgets, more skill, more time to practice. I just want to get better and better. I don't need to rely on so many different crutches. Not that they're bad, I just don't want to do it. So I'm just going to do a rough chop semi-mince. Doesn't have to be perfect. They are beans. And since that's all we're cutting, I'm gonna just clean this up a little bit. Use soap, wash it down like this, and then I take another towel and just wipe it down. It's really no big deal. So people who make comments telling me I'm leaving soap residue on it. Now you got your mise en place. And it's not a lot. 1 thing of diced onions, 4 or 5 cloves of garlic minced, and we have that MyBacon diced up. The rest are just seasonings. I'll do it on a medium-high heat, start it off with, and I'm just gonna add the MyBacon right to it. I don't mind adding the cold product to the cold pan because I want it to render. I don't necessarily want it to just sear and get crispy on the outside. I want it to slowly draw out those flavors, and then it'll create a little sear that will signal for me to move on. So I'm gonna add a couple glugs of oil to go around, and this is just veg oil, and that'll help because there's not a lot of fat actually in the product, but we're using mycelium, so it doesn't have a lot of fat, and I want that texture. If you're whole food plant-based, no oil, don't use the fat. And you could probably skip the bacon altogether and just use tofu. But I would roast it off first with seasonings on the outside, whatever flavors you like. I would go with smoked paprika and whatever seasonings we're using in the beans, and just dice them small, coat them with the seasonings, roast it at like 375 for about 30 to 40 minutes. You want them harder. You want them cooked and dried out before you add them here so they can absorb the flavor and have that nice texture, different from the beans. So this will take a few minutes, probably like 5 or so minutes, because you want to just slowly do it. I'm doing it on a medium high. What I'm looking for is to create some of these crispy edges on the bacon, but I still want that chew. So I don't want to overdo it. And as soon as I start seeing some of the browning on the edge, like I know it's getting crispy, then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. Now I'm going to add the onions, just all right to it. I'll let that sit on top there for a minute. I'm also going to add the garlic. This is super simple, easy recipe. I do aspire for you to make this. Just make the base. Even if you don't use all these ingredients, like the bacon, if you just do the beans, make the base. Get it down in your mind, the ratios, because as I made this every single week, it just gets better and better, and then you can start building adaptations onto it so it's have some variety. But I have been loving eating beans 3 or 4 times a week, and mostly dried. I'll use the canned on occasionally, but I'm a big fan of the dry beans. It's so less expensive and just so much better for you. And there are huge variations in costs. Whether you buy, like this one was $1.49 for this package, and that was just the generic retailer own label brand. But there are some really good ones out there. Local farms, I'm looking forward to getting beans that are 3, 4, 5 times that. But you do get what you pay for. So I'm gonna start adding some of these seasonings. I want them to bloom in the recipe. So I have 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic granulated, 2 teaspoons of onion granulated. All right, so I want to add my spices in here with the fat because I don't want the spices to be floating around in just the liquid. I want them to bloom. That heat and that fat will activate them and just give them a little bit more smoky flavor, a little bit more cooked, more professional. So I'll saute that just for couple minutes until I start seeing it really sticking on the bottom of the pan. Right, so next up is just a measuring cup. And I've been using, to be honest with you, I use deli cups all the time, but for the video, I'm gonna use this. I have my trusty water boiling in the back, and I'm just gonna slide this over for a second. I'm using Better Than Bouillon. This is the vegetarian, no chicken base. And I'm gonna use 2 teaspoons. That's about all I got left in here. 2 teaspoons. And this water's not boiling because I don't need it boiling, but I'm just gonna add a little bit on here and then stir that up because I want it to dissolve and I want to make sure it's dissolved. So we're going to be using 2 of these. So it's going to be 8 cups total. And that would be 4 of these deli cups, which I'm used to using, but 2 of these quart containers. So I got one. Now I'm just gonna add the liquid right to it. This next one, I'm not gonna add boiling water, it's just regular water. Okay, another water. Makes 2, that makes 8 cups of water. And then I'm gonna add my beans. Boom, boom, and boom. Just stir that in. Now it's just a time game where I'm gonna cook this down to be as brothy or as thick as I like. I initially like it super brothy, so like a soup. That's the first day, because overnight it will naturally thicken, and I will show you that example in a second. So if you know me, this is called a flame tamer. I got this one in London. You can order it online anywhere, and it helps me not burn things. So I just add it to the grill, turn on the heat. I'm gonna cook this at a medium low, transfer that over there. And now I know that this has an extra layer of protection from burning, which I'm all about not burning things. I've learned my lesson in the past. I'm not gonna be burning things, and I keep an eye on. Sometimes I forget, and I want that extra layer. It buys me a good amount of before something will burn. Last thing I'm gonna add is 2 bay leaves. So once we get to this point here, I'm just gonna put the cover on it, leave a little bit little extra space out here, and this I'll come by and stir it, but I'll plan on 45 minutes to an hour on a medium low, and then I'll taste it. And that's when we'll season it with salt and pepper if it needs any more. It's that simple. If you use this basic recipe, and I'll write it in the description, so don't worry about having to look at this. But if you use this base recipe, it will come out banging. And I'll tell you, I made it yesterday. It comes out super creamy. Like this is with the kale. So I'm gonna be adding kale to it in a second, but it came out super creamy and super delicious. All right, it has been a full hour and looks good. It's still super brothy, which I like. Test the beans and the flavor. Okay, so the beans are about 85% done, my estimation. And the taste is good, but I do want some more because we haven't added any black pepper or salt. Just a healthy pinch of black pepper, maybe 2. That's probably like a teaspoonful. And then I'm gonna add a pinch of salt, and that'll do it. The bouillon covers the saltiness. Stir that in here. And I'll cook these probably another 15 minutes or so. I want them super plump and not really al dente at all. I want them to easily break apart in my mouth, but not break apart in the pot. You could do this all day if you want. Just leave it on here on super low, stir it in occasionally. When I do it on the wood stove, I would just leave it on there for hours and hours and just stir it as I go. If it needs more liquid because it's reducing too fast, I might just add a little bit more, but always be mindful. If I add water, there's no flavor in water. There's only flavor in the no chicken broth or veg broth, whatever you decide to use. And I want these flavorful because they're gonna be the main part. This is no side dish. This is the main dish. I'm gonna serve these with some steamed kale. And if you've seen the videos, and I've done quite a few of them on how to cook greens, it's exactly the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pour the hot boiling water over the kale, let it sit for a couple minutes, stir it in, make sure all the leaves get wilted, get beautifully vibrant green, strain it, and then it can sit in the cooler or refrigerator for however long until I need it. It's the easiest way to eat greens, and I try to eat greens with almost every single meal. And this, I used one of those 1 pound packages of cut kale. To cook it on this stove, pot, pan here. Once that pan is hot, I'm gonna add some olive oil. Just go by circle. I do 1 or 2 circles. Oops, making a mess. I have some sliced garlic. I just sliced up quickly. I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna saute that for a minute. I just wanna bring that flavor out of it and get it a little bit crispy. To that, I'm gonna add some salt, a couple pinches of salt, 1 pinch of black pepper. I add it to the pan. You can add it to the kale. There's no right or wrong way to do that. And then I just have the kale. I just let it drip dry. Then I'm just gonna saute that. Get that all up in there. Make sure that garlic doesn't burn, so I'm gonna stir that kale right into it. Now this will take a couple minutes. You'll hear the sizzle goes away because it's starting to cook, so I'll just cover that and cook this probably for like 2 or 3 minutes. You can cook it for as long as you want. I just do not like eating brown greens. They're called greens for a reason. So I want mine super vibrant, super colorful, practically alive. Yes, you could steam it. You could do whatever you want, boil them, whatever you want. But this is the way I do it, and I find it the easiest and most delicious way to eat greens consistently. Beans are good. I'm going to turn the beans off. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's my favorite. These are so good. A little bit of nooch. Yes, my favorite. And I love eating greens with almost everything. It is so flavorful. It is so good. With the greens and the nooch. Sometimes I serve it with a little bit of pasta, plain pasta or rice. It all goes good, but just as a main dish, it is so delicious, and I have plenty for the next couple days or to give away to neighbors. If you guys like this video, please check out these videos here, because I have a lot more in the bank and a lot more coming up. And I appreciate you. Oh! I love you. What do you think? What do you think? You want to go outside? You want to eat donuts? Do you want me to get you some treats? Do you like my new haircut? Do you like that I shaved? Hey,